Hey, mamas and friends, it's time for another late night ride. Yay! Um, Due to my video last time, and because you guys kind of know there's some stuff happening, and the fact that my kids are still sick, I could get interrupted at any time. So I apologize for that in advance. But I still wanted to write because even when writing is work for me, and like I can't finish a novel on time, all that kind of stuff, when it's pressurized, and I still love it. And so I thought I'm not going to give up tonight and what I like to do just because life's not easy right now. So I'm going to write, and we're going to do a couple sprints, Lord willing. But if I get an important phone call, or if my kids come and get me in the middle of a sprint, I'll end that sprint, and then we'll say goodbye for the night. And this might just be short, but you never know. So what are you guys writing? I'm pulling up my stuff right now. What are you guys writing on? Are you writing your journals? Are you writing a thankfulness blog? Are you writing a blog, vlog or something? What are you writing? Are you writing text messages? Are you studying for something? Are you coloring? What are you doing? Yeah, my computer's acting weird, obviously. You can't see it, it's right here. Hello, computer. Today, too, I put on some sound effects from YouTube so that maybe I don't spook myself like I did last time. So I'm going to be using those a little bit. It's right now I'm listening to, let me double check. I don't know if you can even hear it, but it's Writing Letters, ambiance on Miracle Forest. And it sounds like somebody's writing letters, and hopefully that'll keep me from being spooked out. Let's see here. All right. So I did a little tiny bit of writing since last time, if you've been following my word count. And so I'm on, but not a lot. So 56,123 words. That's what I'm starting with today. I don't know how much, I don't remember from thing to thing, how much I've told you guys about what I'm writing. I'm writing my third novel. And at this time, my novels are in a series called The Honey Pot Mysteries. And so it has a lot of bee things in it. And so for my anniversary, I don't know, let's see if I can get it to the lens. My husband gave me this ring. Maybe I can hold it up differently. Do you see the little bee? So I don't want to break it. So I put it on when I'm going to write Honey Pot, and it turns my brain back to those characters and that life and everything. So like I said, I'm finishing up the third novel. Once I'm done with that, and you never know, maybe I'll finish it on a late night, right? Probably not this one. Once I'm done with that, then I'm going to do final edits on book 2 so that I can release that one. Yay! Hopefully in February, but that all depends on how those last few edits go. Sometimes they take a really long time. Sometimes with all the covers and the formatting and all that kind of stuff, and proofs and all that kind of stuff, sometimes it can take a great deal longer than I'm expecting it to. But I've already edited my first draft. My first draft of that one, I believe I've edited, whatever. I've done 5 rounds of edits on it already. And at this moment, I'm finishing my beta reader edits. Beta readers are, people who are reading it for me and catching little mistakes like punctuation, spelling, which I've done a lot of, but when you're close to your own work, you can't see a lot of it because you hear the story how you meant it to sound. They're also helping me catch things like plot holes, like how did this person go from standing to sitting in a sentence without you telling me what was happening. So they're doing that for me, and they're also letting me know if things, because obviously Honey Pot Mysteries are mysteries. They're letting me know if it's too corny, if it's too, what's the right word? If it's too obvious, if the plot's too obvious, or if it's too confusing, because that's really easy to do too, because just because I see it in my head, and I find words that sound right to me, it doesn't mean I've conveyed the whole story. There's been times where I've accidentally left out entire scenes because I've thought about them so much I think I've written them. And that's what they're for. Because they can't see in my head, so they read it and they take it just at word value. So that's what's happening on my second book. I'm getting the beta reads back. I'm getting input from that. So if you're one of my beta readers, you know who you are, and you're watching this, thank you. It helps me tremendously. If you've ever wanted to be a beta reader, this round is over, but maybe round 3 you could do that. But of course, because it's a series, the other 2 you'd have to have, you could read it, and because I think they could stand alone, but you might be confused with some of the characters. I don't think so, though. They're pretty, I keep it pretty easygoing. I'm not attempting to be the writer of the great American novel. I'm just writing what I'm led to write and what comes to my brain, and I have many stories waiting, and so it's frustrating when one story is taking too long because I have other ones that I don't want to lose, and I'm afraid that if I don't start working in the details, I'll forget, and I don't want to do that. So I'm working on book 3, and as soon as book 3 is finished, the first draft, obviously, I'll be finishing up editing of my beta edits, and then I'll be line editing and proofreading, and hopefully getting the cover and all that kind of stuff together. And so we'll see. February is kind of close right now. Just, it feels really close because of everything that's, because there's, I'm a homeschool mom. I've got tons of stuff happening. So it feels kind of close, but I bet it happens, even if it's at the end of it. So let's set our timer, my BuzzBee timer. Let's go for, we're going to keep them a little bit short today, because like I said, sometimes I might get a phone call, and because it's important, I might have to dodge out. So I'm going to do 15 minutes. Let's do 15 minutes. So gather whatever you've got, your thankfulness journal, your coloring book, whatever reading you need to get done, whatever planning you need to get done, and we're going to write, and we're going to see if I don't scare myself today. All right, let's get going. Is delicateness a word? I'm not sure. Delicateness. Doesn't sound right anyway. Hmm. Oh my gosh. That timer always gets me. Hi, Kristen. Um, okay, so it was, how long did I set timer? 15 minutes. So 15 minutes, let's see, I didn't write very much. Now I'm at 56,358. So I think that means I wrote, oh, math shouldn't take this long. 235 words. That's not bad. Not bad for 15 minutes. That's okay. So let me check, like I said, my phone because stuff is happening. And yeah. I'm okay for the moment. So what did you guys do? Did any of you write? Uh, did you get anything completed? Anything you want to share? I know that there's a couple people out there who've mentioned to me that they sometimes do their homework while I'm writing because it sets a pace for them to get it done and it makes you feel like you're not alone, and that's great. That's what I want. Writing can be really lonely. It's all in my head, it's all make believe, and I do it by myself. So, um, but I love my characters. Can you tell when something's funny is gonna happen? I just giggle at them. I have this one sassy character, and well, I have many, but this one, oh, she cracks me up right now. So if you saw me laughing to myself, yes, I am crazy, and that's what I was laughing at. Okay, so let's see. I don't like where that segue is going. But if I don't get the words down, I can't fix them, so I'm just going to write it anyway, and I can scratch it later. All right, let's do another 15. Okay, round 2, and if we're good after that, maybe we'll do one more. All right. You can get a lot done in 15 minutes. I keep forgetting that's gold. Okay. So here we go. If you're writing, what were the, well, let me turn off my timer. See, I get distracted. This is why I need timers. If you're writing, what were the last words you wrote? Not a whole sentence. Don't give away anything because, you know, mine is, her friend stood only feet away. Ooh, it's a lot less ominous than the last one I wrote, but it's spooky. That's why I've got my little noisemaker on so I don't spook myself out. Okay, now for real. Let's write. Excuse me. I have to finish the sentence. All right, let's see. Whew. So, if you notice, I make weird facial expressions. I do that all the time, but especially weird ones when I'm writing. Sometimes I'll I know this time I squint my eyes really tight. It's it's how I come up with the words I want to describe what's happening. So somewhere in my book, somebody's going like this, but I need to describe it. So in order to describe it, I need to do it sometimes so I can feel it, so that I can get in my body and feel what this action or gesture is like, so that I can come up with adequate words to describe it to myself. And then I need to come up with adequate words to describe it to someone else. So how would you describe, I'm sure it looks constipated. That's not what's happening. Um, so I'll do a whole gesture that I just wrote down. So what's happening, and how would you describe that, and how would you describe it in such a way that it's interesting and not just the cat sat on the mat kind of description. She closed her eyes and shook her head. Okay, well that's great. And sometimes I write simple like that because not every line needs to be spectacular. That's just too much. It's overload. But I don't want to say the same things all the time. So I'm always looking for new gestures, and I even study, watch out if you're my friend, I study people to watch their gestures and how they react to things, not out of like judgment of their character or anything, but out of examining, excuse me, what feelings may have caused that reaction, what happened right before, what happened after, and excuse me, how would I go about describing that, and how often would I see that happening? Now, I don't always think like that while I'm watching them, but I do catalog it, and certain people's faces might come to mind as I'm describing that. And so, if somebody's face comes to mind, and I don't think the character making that expression matches with maybe the personality or the motivation of the person who I'm matching with the gesture, then I cut it and try to think of something else. But it's hard. We have a lot of words in the English language, but it's hard to pick out just the right one without overkilling everything. Because these are cozy mysteries. Cozy mysteries you're supposed to be able to pick up on a Friday night or Saturday morning, snuggle up on the couch with your hot cup of coffee or your hot tea and maybe a pastry. That's my favorite way to do it. And be able to read the whole thing in a weekend. That's what a cozy mystery is. It's not supposed to have too much violence in it, but it has to have a mystery, and most of the time, most cozy people will say it has to have a murder. And it has to have, so it has less violence than modern crime books or other kinds of thriller mysteries, cozy mysteries. They have less violence. They have less scenes of passion, I guess, in it, or innuendo. Sometimes they have double innuendo and like puns and jokes like that in there. Excuse me, that's not uncommon. But they also have little to no swearing. So that's a rough description of most cozies. And then there are cozies that have different styles to them that might have more of one of those items. But as a rule, they're usually easygoing. You could usually finish them in a weekend and still have some kind of social life. Like you're not going to have to sit on the couch the whole time if you don't want to. They usually take you away to someplace safe. Thus, my town of Honeypot. If you know my town's real name, because Honeypot's not its real name, go ahead and leave it in the description. I'm not going to give you anything but a thumbs up. But if you do know my town's real name, go ahead and write it down. So that's what I'm trying to do with Honeypot. Sometimes the scenery is like a specific cafe. Sometimes it's a town. Sometimes it's an exotic location. There's been cozy mysteries on like cruise lines where it's the same cruise ship, but it's the same familiar atmosphere, at least most of it. They might branch off and travel to different areas or surrounding areas. But they also have the same characters, the same root characters. And in this particular series, I have one main character. She's the main character, but she also has 3 friends that help her around the way. So some people like stories like that where, because it does jump from point of view of those friends, and sometimes the victim, you get to hear a little bit of them, but not too much. So I do it that way. It's not a, that's for this series. I might do something different. But so anyway, cozy mysteries aren't supposed to be America's greatest novel. They're supposed to be mellow and fun. So it's hard to describe all these gestures. Keep it fresh and entertaining without overwhelming. A cozy mystery isn't supposed to send you to your dictionary, and it isn't. I mean, maybe once or twice, but it's not supposed to send you away going, huh? What did that sentence mean? So it is hard. So again, how would you describe this? So if you see me doing weird gestures, that's most likely what I'm doing, is trying to figure out, what does that feel like? Why would I make that expression? Because that's what my mind is seeing, but it doesn't always match the emotion that goes along with it. Like I said, at first that just looks constipated. That's not exactly what I'm going for. I'm sure that will be the picture that Facebook chooses to use as a thumbnail for this thing. So, oh, my word count. So that time I did a little bit better. I am now at 56,632. So let me write that down. Writing it down really encourages me to go, oh, look, I'm doing it. Because around 20,000 words, around 30,000 words, my brain just can't think anymore. So I have to encourage myself a little bit along the way. So I've got my little, like I showed you before, I've got my little notebook that says Nerdy by Nature, that I keep all my writing sprints in, and I put little cute, you can't even see it, that I put all my writing sprints in, and I put my little cute stickers in, because it encourages me to keep going. No, it's silly, but it works. So let's see, 5, 6, 3, 2 is 7. I'm doing all this math in my head, and I'm way too tired for it. 9. Can't remember. Oh, I did 397 words, I think. Woo, that's great! Because that was just 15 minutes. That's crazy. And the last 15-minute round, we only did 235. So let me check my phone, because once again, like I said, things are happening. Let's do one more. Let's do a quick one. Let's do a 10-minute. How's that sound? All right. Let me get it all ready so that I don't talk and then reset my timer, because you guys know I do that. Yes. These videos are funny to me because I'm used to talking to myself in my mind, and now it's just all coming out. But I'm talking to you. Okay. Mouse stickers. Whew. So what makes you happy? What kind of things like this make you happy? Not writing necessarily, but do you crochet? Do you craft? Do you scrapbook? What else do people do? Do you whittle? I'm not laughing at whittlers. I can't think right now. What do you do? What do you do that's fun for you that maybe other people don't understand is fun for you? Because this is fun. It's also a lot of work. I'm looking for the specific sticker, and I can't find it. I used to write a lot in high school. Instead of like writing notes to my friends. I did that too, but instead of writing notes to my friends, I wrote stories. Oh, there we go. I wrote stories. Usually they were Star Wars fan fiction. Before I knew fan fiction was a thing. That would have been nice. Maybe I could have paid for college that way. But I would usually write Star Wars fan fiction with my friends. And I wrote my first longer story in high school, and it was crazy dramatic and horrible. And unfortunately, I think I got rid of it. I probably should have kept it, because it was the first story over 100 pages that I completed, and it was all in my own handwriting. Okay, so let's get crack-a-lackin'. Here we go. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Probably from that cold coffee. That's not supposed to be cold. Man, I got the hiccups. Oh, if you're writing online on the computer, save it. It's horrible to lose your work. See, gesturing. I'm actually making the face of what I think is going to happen. And I'm going to have to do it again to get back into it. If you read it, you'll know what it was. Excuse me. Hang on just a second. This is the call I'm waiting for. We'll finish. Just give me a second. Just got to tell him to give me 5 minutes. All right. Oh, life. Isn't God good? He's awesome. In the middle of turmoil and craziness, and he still gives joy. I don't do that by myself. I'm not good at joy. But God is. Oh, okay. I saw that one coming. I noticed it was closer to the dot, so it didn't startle me as much. All right. So, got a question. Is he didn't not say that? That's a double negative, right? And what would that actually mean? He said it, right? I don't know. My brain is too tired to think of the logic. I think that's what I meant to say. So, that's a really good stopping point anyway, because I'm at the point where I know exactly the scenes that need to follow, but I have one chunk right before it just goes whoosh, and that's usually how it happens. At the end of a book, I'll have like this one chunk, and I just can't get it to make sense. I can't get it. I know what's going to happen, but I can't see in my head the scene that comes right before the climax starts. Does that make sense? I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does, because I'm just so logical. So that's where I'm at, which means usually at this point I get out my legal pad notes, and I start writing down all the scenes left that I have to do. This person does this, this person does this, this person does this, leads to this clue, solve, in danger, that kind of stuff. And I write it all out, and then I start asking myself questions like how did I get here? Like, what did the character do right before that? What would drive them to put themselves in harm's way? I have to go back and start questioning. It's almost like I interrogate my characters at this point and start asking them, okay, I know you know this and this and this, but what makes you make the leap here? And I know you only know these two nuggets, but you help inspire this person to get to here. How did you do that? And, is that scene organic, or did I force it? So that's where I'm at. Sometimes I actually have to draw it out. And other times, which might sound weird, I have to actually watch like a mystery show. So sometimes like a Psych, but Psych is too pop culture-y and funny, so I don't pay attention to its plotting as like, oh, this is where this happens, because usually you can tell, oh, it's the climax, and now it's going to go up like this, and then the discovery, and then it's going to make sense. So I usually have to watch something like like an Agatha Christie, or one of those Hallmark movies that are mysteries. And I don't watch them to copy them, but I watch them for that moment, so I can see, even ones I've watched before, so I can see how that writer handled it. But I actually have to see it. It doesn't really help me to read another cozy at that point, because then I just kind of get swept up in that story. My goodness, I have hiccups like crazy. All right, so let's see. I didn't even look at how many words I wrote. That time, I am now at 56,799 words, which means I wrote 167. That's not bad for 10 minutes, right? Especially when I got distracted. So all together today, I didn't break 1,000. I really wanted to break 1,000. No, I must have done some adding wrong somewhere along the line. Oh, no. Okay, so all in all today, I've written approximately, I'll just give you the exact total, 670 words. That's not bad. That's not bad. And it's more words than I had when I started, right? And like I said before, you can't edit or fix words that aren't there. So even if these words get erased later, which is extremely painful, by the way, if they get erased later, at least they were there to be erased in the first place. So how'd you guys do? What'd you do? How many words did you do if you were writing? Did you finish that essay? Did you finish that report? I'm serious. Whatever tedious work that you're doing alongside with me, it could be laundry. Did you rock it? I sure hope so. Did you crush that goal? Crush it. All right. Now that will be what Facebook puts on. Save your work if you were working on your computer. Save it, save it, save it. And then I will say good night. Thanks for coming. Thanks for writing with me. You guys encourage me and you make it fun, and then I'm not alone, and hopefully you're not alone, and we've all got each other. So I will catch you later. See you tomorrow. Bye.